Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tool for Forza YouTube channel. Captain Axis here, and we're going to be taking a look at ACC version 1.1.1 in VR, and we're going to compare it to its previous release. And point 0.7 was the last time I did a video on ACC, and I had a lot of people that asked me to do a follow-up video. And I guess you could say that a lot has changed since then. So I went from having an 8700 with no overclock and relatively slow RAM and a 1070 to an i9900k that I do not have overclocked for this particular video, but my RAM is at 4433 megahertz, and then a 2080 graphics card at stock clocks. So this is the follow-up video, and you can see here I'm in 45 ASW mode. That's why it looks like, you know, very not smooth on the screen here. When you're recording VR, you definitely need to have it at 90 frames. That way it will record at 60. So I would never stream or make a beauty video using ASW. I typically tune my graphics so there's as little ASW happening as possible. I'm not a fan of the transition in and out of ASW, but that's just the reality of life with ACC, even with a pretty damn fast computer, you know, such as mine. I should also say that I'm recording on a second PC, so there is no resources being used by the recording here. I've got my media PC's got an 8700 in it. It's actually the PC I rattled off before. I just use that for media now. So now, that being said, this is on this PC with these high specs, and I imagine there's been some optimization as well. It's totally playable right now. I've heard some people say that it's not, you know, it's not playable. That was Random Call Sign's opinion on his stream, was it wasn't even playable in VR. But I spent some time turning down a lot of the settings, and there's some settings you want to leave cranked up, and there's some settings you want to turn down. I'll show you my settings at the end of this video. But where I've got it now, ASW 2.0 is really, really good, but I'm actually at 90 frames quite a bit here, which is definitely a good thing. So I had tried to make this video previously with Rivia Tuner on, so you could actually see all kinds of interesting, you know, FPS data, GPU loading, all the different CPU cores. If you look at my IL2 Sturmovik overclocking live stream, you know, I was trying to do that, but in Steam VR, at least with the Oculus Rift, ACC runs like absolute garbage, and it wasn't a fair kind of comparison to the experience you'd have, you know, in a normal environment where you're not trying to make a video and show people a bunch of data. So I apologize, there's not more FPS data. There is a little green box in the upper left-hand corner. But this thing is running nowhere near as good as AC does. It doesn't look as good as AC either, for sure, which is really disappointing, but it's totally playable if you have a crazy, I mean, I don't know, not that my PC's that crazy, but it is. I mean, you really can't have a faster processor or RAM than what I've got here, and that certainly helps. VR is more demanding than single screen on a CPU for sure. I'm still researching that, and I'm kind of working on a video for that, and we'll cover that in more detail later. But yeah, it's totally playable. And again, this is someone that, you know, I'm not really a fanboy of anything. I just like stuff that runs well and has good force feedback. So let me cover the force feedback a little bit here as well, because I know that's a debatable topic, and I tend to have a lot of similar opinions to the bald man in the sim rig, you know, Gamer Muscle, about force feedback, but we have a little bit of a disagreement here when it comes to the force feedback on ACC. I think it's pretty darn good, and I use AC as my benchmark for like what is good force feedback for my tastes. I just absolutely love the way that AC feels. In this, see right there how I just was able to save that, though? I could feel the back end of the car coming around there. That was like perfect timing to make a mistake, really, in this video. So I wouldn't say I get the subtle front end feel, but that's a little exaggerated in AC, at least with my experience, you know, on the track in real cars, which I'll be doing a reveal of my mystery track car that I've got in the garage here. I'll put up a picture of it underneath the underneath the car cover. You guys can try to guess what it actually is in the comments. But Anyhow, yeah, I'd like the force feedback in ACC. You can feel it load when you load the front tires. You can feel it unload, as you unload the front tires, or when the front tires start to give out. So, but it's different than AC. It's not as obvious for sure. And I should say that I'm on a Fanatec DD1, and I haven't spent a whole bunch of time messing around with the settings here on the force feedback, because I haven't really felt that need to. I kind of just dialed in the strength and the degree of rotation, and I have my dynamic damping just at 100%, which is the default, and then vibration is, I always turn that off. I'm not a fan of having vibration effects whatsoever. So that's my bit on the force feedback. Wow. So I can see as computers get faster, I think that this engine... Oh, and I loop it there. Oh, man. Nice. Nice. Way to make a good video. Oh, just hammered again. Something I would never do online. Oh my god, my safety rating is going to be atrocious. Oh, that's another thing, is I guess you can toggle that off in AC. So when you're tuning your graphics, doing crap like this, that's probably a good idea here. But it'll be interesting to see how this thing runs as we kind of get into night. So where was I? We talked about FFB. We talked a little bit about my initial, opinions on VR, which is it's so much better on this PC, and I'm sure there's been some optimization as well. Like it is before, when you're constantly in ASW mode. I don't know if you can consider any title, at least for a simulator title, if it runs in ASW all the time. I don't think that cuts it for driving and flying sims. I mean, it's nice to have ASW, and ASW 2.0 is really, really good. But for me, I definitely noticed the difference, and 90 frames is it's more or less a requirement that, except for maybe at the start of the race or in a particularly demanding scenario. Looks like I'm back in ASW mode here right now. It should be at at 90 frames. You should not be on the 45, ASW. So that's just the reality, even with a computer like mine, of this. So if you're a person who can't stand ASW, and I totally get it, if you are one of those people, then this is not going to be for you. You're going to have to be able to live the ASW life, if you're going to be into ACC in VR, at least right now in October of 2019, with the consumer grade computer components that are available. But again, there's parts of this that look really good, and it's funny because the biggest downfall with ACC is like the sharpness and just almost like the resolution in VR. So I got my pixel density cranked up to 150, which is, I turned down a lot of the other settings just so I could get the pixel density up as high as possible. So that's my recommendation if you're trying to tune your own graphic settings in ACC. Crank the pixel density up to as much as you'd want. Anything less than 150 is just going to look so much worse than AC in most situations. And the other thing you have to have is the temporal anti-aliasing needs to be on epic, because if it's in anything but epic, when you go into ASW mode, there's all kinds of weird like ghosting. It's not really quite artifacting, but like around the spoilers and around like the the fenders, the wheel arches, you'll see really weird effects if you don't have your anti-aliasing on epic. So those are kind of the two things that you're gonna turn up. And then pretty much everything else I have honestly turned down to like low right now. So again, I'll show my settings at the end of the video. Man, this looks really cool at night. But it's playable. It's definitely, it's definitely playable. It's not where it needs to be to get me super hyped on it and really into it. And I don't see myself playing a ton of AC, just A, because of the way, generally speaking, it runs in VR, and just B, because GT3 cars aren't... I don't know. I really want to like it. If the online multiplayer was like really... I don't know. We'll have to test that. I guess I shouldn't make an opinion overall on ACC yet, because I've only got about 40 hours on it. But the VR is... I mean, AC looks much better for sure. Not even compare. I mean, that's with Soul and shaders, and if you've seen any of my other videos on that, you know, check them out. I mean, AC looks pretty damn fantastic in VR here. So this is the last lap. One other settings advice. I find that turning down the mirror to low, turning down the mirror distance to 30 meters, and also volumetric fog needs to be disabled. Those are also some critical settings for sure. So just if you're trying to maybe change your settings a little bit from mine, those are ones that you definitely just I would run them how I suggested for sure. This looks cool at night. I mean, I would love. I don't think there's a PC out there that can run this thing cranked up, like in VR, like at 150 pixel density with like everything turned up. But I feel like it would look absolutely amazing if you could. So, I don't know. You know, we'll have to see with optimization and with, you know, the future. But it's not quite there with normal computers that normal people are going to have. So I guess my overall opinion is, you know, is if you're on the fence, wait. And if you have a crazy computer, maybe it's worth giving it a second look in VR. But if you're not a person like that, I would honestly just wait. So hopefully this was helpful. Oh God, geez. All right, I gotta switch to a different part of the video because you can't see my settings in VR. So we'll look at my settings real quick, and then we're gonna close it out. I appreciate the likes and the subscribes. That's what keeps the channel going. Come and find us on Discord so we can do some racing together. That's really the whole reason I do this. I know I'm never gonna like become a YouTuber. That's not my goal. My goal is to build a community of people that are into sim racing. And let's go take a look at some settings, guys. Alright guys, so here we are in the settings. I'm going to quickly close out this video and just read off the settings to show them here on the screen. You know, I appreciate the likes and the subscribes on the video here. Thanks for watching, and let's just burn through this real quick. Full screen disabled, triple screen disabled, VSync disabled, resolution 1842 by 1036, resolution scale 100, view distance mid, shadows low, anti-aliasing epic. You want to leave it on epic for sure if you're in VR. Anti-aliasing type temporal, you definitely want to leave that on temporal in VR. Effects low, post-processing low, foliage low, texture low, mirror view distance 30. This one has a pretty significant impact on frame rate. I didn't find it to bother me too much, so I took the overhead, but if it bothers you and things are coming and going out of your rearview mirror, you can turn that one up. Mirror quality low, mirror resolution, this should be on low. I must have clicked something previously. That was definitely on low previously. Opponent's visibility, I have this on all because you'll have cars kind of coming and going when you start the race, and you're just going to be in ASW anyways, so you might as well just suck it up and not have cars coming and going off your screen while you're also in ASW mode. Materials quality, medium, temporal upscaling, disabled. Bloom quality, mid, volumetric fog, disabled. That is critical that you disable that one. Foliage, LED quality is mid. That might be one to play with. Car LED quality, I turned this all the way down to 25. The cars essentially look the same to me, so I saw no reason to not turn that one down and try to get some overhead in traffic when you seem to be in ASW. HL LOT is enabled, advanced sharpen filter is enabled, and this advanced sharpen filter really makes it look better at distances in VR. When you're looking at like signs and maybe things off the track, that one definitely makes a difference. Doesn't seem to hammer the frame rate too bad, which is really surprising as well. Motion blur disabled, saturation 100, white balance neutral, sharpness 100, frame limit off, menu frame rate cap enabled, camera dirt effect 3.0. Although I hate dirt on the camera, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this down to its lowest setting right now. Light absorption high, image contrast 0.5, exposure gain 0.4. So I didn't mess with anything except for maybe motion blur and sharpness. I think I turned up to 100 as well here in image customization. So that's, yeah, so just know that. This is not these are the best settings for a set of Corsa video. This is just me trying to explain the choices I made so you can be a little bit more educated on the choices that you make. That's what we're all about here. I appreciate the support. Thanks for watching the video, guys. This is Captain Nasty's, over and out.